All right. Hey, D Scott here, and I am the Mid-Century Dad, and it is Friday afternoon here in Western Oregon. It is a beautiful day. I hope you had a chance to get out. And I was just noticing I still got still got in my pocket. I got my mask because you know what? I was out earlier this morning meeting a friend actually for coffee. Actually, we're on a board together, and so it was a chance to be face to face, and it was nice to be able to get out and into a coffee shop. So I had to put this little lounge picture up there because finally we're able to get out and meet face to face with folks. I've had my vaccines. He's had his, so we're a lot less dangerous than we used to be, and now we're able to just get out and see people and do things that we haven't been able to do for a long time. And hey, Father's Day is coming up. And so I just wanted to go through and show a few things that, as a father, I want to help you be able to enjoy because, I think about when with my dad, it was always, what do I buy him for Father's Day that he doesn't have that he wants that I could afford. And so I've got kind of just a number of things thrown into the carousel there. And one of the things I want to talk about is being able to play guitar, or in this case, ukulele. So I put a ukulele, got a uke highlighted here in the carousel. There's just a number of things, including a number of books. And one of the things I'm excited about doing here on Amazon Live is author interviews. And so I've got a couple of those. You can go back and you can look at my page and see the last two interviews that I did. One with Russ Hedge in his book, Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose. And then also with Colm O'Brien. And now Colm has a very fascinating book called Feeding Johnny. And it's really his journey of starting a business, and there's some ups and downs. He had some thoughts about what he wanted to do while he was in high school, getting ready to graduate and move on. Thought he wanted to be a teacher, and he ends up delivering thousands, tens of thousands of lunches to children in Ireland every day. Healthy lunches, by the way. So, anyway, we're sitting here in this little lounge. I'm glad you're here with me as we just talk about different gifts that you can get for your father. And also, I've got the chat up. And so, hey, there's Matt. I see Matt. Wow, great to see you here, Matt. Thanks for joining me. And so, um, what was I just thinking? Oh yeah, I was talking about the book interviews with Colm, and now I've got Matt here. Hey, one of the live shows that I'm a part of is the Business Builder Throwdown every Thursday, and here in the Pacific time zone, that's at 11 a.m. Matt happens to be in the Atlantic time zone, so he's 4 hours ahead of me. So even though it's 3 o'clock here, it is 7 o'clock for him. He is finished his week into the weekend. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for joining me here. And again, we're just going to talk about some of the books, some of the gifts, some of the things that you can get for your papa here as we're coming into Father's Day. And so I mentioned I had my mask and that I was out earlier this morning meeting a friend of mine. And actually, we're on a board together. We've got a nonprofit organization, and just some of the strategies that are going on. That particular organization is built around education for high school students that don't really have a great interest in pursuing college, but they're more interested maybe in some of the trades. And so they kind of get disinterested in high school itself. And then they maybe drop out and don't actually get their diploma. So, how can we encourage them to go ahead and continue with with their education, get the diploma, and also have, say, internships and so forth. So anyway, we're talking about this morning, and then I came back and took my wife out for brunch. We just had a nice time out. So it's been a really good Friday, and yeah. So as Matt was saying, it's 3 p.m. Atlantic time. So those of you, he's in Nova Scotia, so he's way over there on the eastern side of the continent. So we're very far apart geographically. But I'll tell you what, with such tools as video conferencing, boy, we are a lot closer than we've ever been, and so that's just a fabulous thing there. So as we're kind of just getting started here with this broadcast, and we're talking about some of these gifts, and as I said, I'm going to go through and highlight some of the things that have been helpful for me as a father. And so let me just show you one of these things here and highlight this little flashlight. This is a little flashlight I've got on my key ring. This uses a AAA battery. And I tell you what, that's just been a great gift. My son actually got that for me. A while back. You can tell the paint's been worn off because I carry that thing all the time, and it is amazing the number of times that we actually use it. So we went out for a hike, and we started a little bit later in the afternoon than we wanted. It was about a 5 mile round trip. We were going off to a place in the Cascade Mountains called the Blue Pool. Beautiful spot, and it's actually where the river comes out of the ground. And so it's kind of a spectacular little spot. Anyway, we go back and we're down there and we're taking pictures and we're having a good time. We come back and we knew we were going to have to book it pretty fast because it was earlier in the winter. It's going to get dark earlier, probably about 5:30. And we're coming out. Sure enough, it starts getting to twilight and we're inside those trees under the canopy. And I was able to pull out my little light, and man, what a difference it made. And so, Matt, have a good time. Enjoy the family. Have a great weekend, and again, join me for the Business Builder Throwdown. It's just a fun broadcast. So, anyway, every Thursday, as Matt says, it is 3 p.m. Atlantic time. So Ian and I, we're off on this little hike. We're coming back. It's getting back. And fortunately, I just keep this in my pocket. And it's a lot better than the cell phone because one thing you don't want to be is out and about and be draining your cell phone battery, using it as a flashlight. And so having this little Phoenix light in my pocket was just a fabulous deal. I really enjoyed being able to use that. But like I say, I use it all the time. It's just amazing when you have that. But it's not big and bulky, and that battery lasts for a long time. So that was just a great day, beautiful hike out. We were having fun. It was, like I said, it was about a 4.5, close to 5 mile, I guess, hike. And you just got to take advantage of those opportunities when you can, even though we were under not quite the lockdown, but we gave other hikers a room. So when they were coming out, we're going in and vice versa, kind of go off to the side of the trail and give each other space. And I think even though people are getting vaccinated and a lot of the mask requirements are coming down, there's still that kind of politeness that we're doing with each other, just to give each other a little bit of space. And so that's a lot of fun, just to be able to get out there. And so I'm just putting my phone over here so I can kind of keep an eye on the time and any comments that are coming in. So anyway, it's just great to have you guys here. And as you scroll through, you'll notice that I've got a number of books also listed in here. And in fact, coming up on next Wednesday at 12:30 Pacific time, I'll be doing a part of another one of my author interview series. And so we're going to have Paul Edwards on there. So let me see if I can where can I find his book? There we go. Influencer Networking Secrets. And I was privileged to get a pre copy of this book. So this book was published as a 2021 published date, and I was able to get a copy last fall before they were in distribution and read Paul's book. And it's just a great book, really good story, great information, and it is talking about the radically generous entrepreneurs. And so, just some great concepts in his book. And so, you can go ahead and, if you click on the book, you can read a little bit of the excerpt about of the book and get an idea of what that's all about. But then next Wednesday at 12:30 Pacific time, I'll be interviewing Paul and have that opportunity for questions. So if you want to put questions in the chat, we'll be able to address those and have Paul talk to you directly about his journey. Now, one of the things that Paul does is he's actually a ghostwriter. Well, he and his company. So he has a number of writers that work for him, as well as he does writing himself. So if you're ever thinking that you would like to write a book, but it's kind of a daunting task, uh, finding a company like Paul and being able to tell your story, but have it written and produced professionally is really nice. And I can tell you the quality of the book and everything that comes out, it's really, really nice. But I encourage you to go ahead and click on his book and take a look at the excerpt there and take a little look at that and what it's all about. And tune in next Wednesday as I continue the author interview series. Now I'm going to do these author interview series as often as I can. My goal is to do those at least once a week. However, I do want you to know that I have made a commitment that before I do an author interview, I will have read their book. And so I'll be able to give you firsthand knowledge, firsthand experience on what I found by reading their book. So the author interview series. So we started that off a couple of weeks ago with Russ Hedge and his book Befuddled: Live the Life You Choose. And that was just that. Russ has got a ton of energy. I encourage you. You can go back and look at the video, watch the video on that. And then earlier this week, I interviewed Colm O'Brien over in Ireland, and that, boy, what a great and inspiring story. And he's able to help feed children. So Feeding Johnny is his book, and a great story there. So anyways, we go through these books. You can see we've got there's the Feeding Johnny book, and you can order that. I encourage you, just this is another one of those great gifts, because we're talking again about what do you get for your father. And Feeding Johnny is a really good book. It talks about his journey, and I think a lot of us that are fathers can relate to it. I know that as I was reading it, he was talking about how he was working for this company, and then different opportunities came up. But he was gathering his experience, and then one day on the train, it really changed his life. And but he started a business. That business didn't succeed, and he talks about it not being overnight, but it was coming. He saw it coming, and tried to do things to save it. But as he talks about, there was a moment there that was the perfect storm, and things conspired, if you will, to change his trajectory. But now he's successful, and so it's a great inspirational story. And there's 10 points that he goes through at the end that really kind of summarize what his experiences were in such a way that you can apply those today. So I enjoyed reading the book. And again, as the mid-century dad, I'm telling you, if you give that to your father, if I had got that book and read it, I'd be grateful to my family for having purchased that book and given it to me for Father's Day. So that's pretty exciting. And then I talked about Befuddled. Mom, Befuddled. This is Russ's first book, and he we actually started working together, boy, a couple of years ago, and he was working as a marketing manager for a company, a construction company, and but decided that he wanted to use some of his discretionary time, his spare time, to focus on starting a new business. Now, what I often talk about is that in America, on the average, Americans watch 5 hours of television every day. So that's on the average, and you may or may not be in that average, but on the average, people watch 5 hours of television every day. You could say what a travesty that is, but this is the way I look at it: is that on the average, Americans have 5 hours of discretionary time every day, and so they just didn't know what to do with it. So why not take a little bit of that time? Say take an hour and focus on a business. Now, Russ was able to take some of his time, some of his discretionary time, focus on a business. And this was many months before the whole COVID pandemic took over. Now, when that pandemic happened, the company he was working for laid him off. And it's not uncommon. There's so many stories of people who have been severely impacted through the pandemic because of COVID-19, because of all of the restrictions, and when businesses were shut down because they were considered non essential. And Russ was one of those folks that his job was stopped, and the good news is that he had already started focusing on starting a new business. And so he had his own business ready to go. And so this opportunity was really an opportunity when the pandemic came, and he was laid off from work. He was then able to actually focus full time on his business, and he created a podcast, which he does twice a week. He and I do another live show on Wednesday mornings at 7 a.m. Pacific, live with Russ and Scott. And so we do that. But then he also took the initiative to write a book. And as I like to say, this is absolutely the best time ever to be alive, because the barrier to entry is just your willingness to participate. If you have something to say, if you have a story to tell, there is nothing stopping you from writing a book. You can publish right here on Amazon. You can go to kdp.amazon.com, set up an account, don't download the Kindle Creator app to your computer, and it works on Macs, works on PCs, and you can write your book and say a Word document, upload it, do the formatting, put a cover onto it, and publish it. And those are really the steps. Now I realize that there's more to it than that to actually create the book, but no one's in your way. You don't have to go to an agent. You don't have to go to a publisher. You don't have to look at distribution is right here on Amazon. And so there is nothing that is going to stop you from telling your own story. So if you want to actually write a book, you can actually upload video into Amazon Video, and so making your own content and sharing it. There is just no limitation for you right now. If you want a podcast, you can create a podcast. And in fact, I threw some of the tools in that I like to use. And so I'm using I'm going to take this frame off for a second. So I'm using this microphone is an MXL 990. This is the Patriot edition. I love the MXL microphones. These are really nice. This is what's considered a condenser mic. And so condenser mics are much more sensitive than the other type, which is dynamic mics. Now, I'm going to talk about that in a moment here. But with the condenser mic, they're very sensitive. So if you're in an environment that's very noisy, so if I was trying to do this in an actual coffee shop, it wouldn't work so well. It'd be very much too noisy, and this microphone would pick it up. If there were a lot of, oh gosh, trucks, lawnmowers, dogs barking here, this would not be a great microphone to use. I would use a dynamic mic. But one of the things I like about these condenser mics is that I can be a fair distance away, and it's going to pick up my voice really well. On the dynamic mics, and so this would be a dynamic mic here. You got to be up pretty close on those. And so, although I can get up here and it changes, they have what they call this proximity effect, and so it changes the sound a little bit, but still, um, I like the way the condenser mic works. And so these MXL microphones are great, and they come in all these different configurations, if you will. So I've got this MXL blackout, and so people like to, they want to minimize the equipment. They don't want to spotlight the equipment, but they'll come in silver, champagne, different colors. They've actually got some with lights built into them, which, if you're a gamer, that's a really cool microphone. To have this MXL 990 with the LED lights inside, when you power this thing up, it just looks really cool. Now, I do a number of international broadcasts, so it's just kind of fun to have the stars and stripes. It's just kind of a moment, and so I like this MXL 990 Patriot Edition. So that's the one that I'm using. But anyway. When Russ got laid off, he had actually been starting his own had started his own business already, and so and we're going back to his book here. He had actually started his own business, so he didn't need to start from scratch. He was able to focus full time on it, and he started his own podcast, and has been interviewing a lot of folks. And so he had something to say. He wrote a book, started a podcast. Absolutely, this is the best time ever to be alive. And so just talking about some of the things that you can do right now, right here on Amazon. You want to publish video, want to publish books, you want to sell products, you can sell them right here. I mean, it's the world is open to you right now. So it's just a fabulous time. So we had the interview with Russ. We talked with Colum, and we've got some more coming up. And so you can kind of look through, and I'm talking about these gifts for dad. Now, one of the things that has been helpful are the fitness trackers. And so I use the Samsung phone. A Fitbit is a great fitness tracker. In fact, that's the one that my daughter uses. My millennial daughter loves using her Fitbit, and it tracks, and it's all your pulse rate and steps and mileage and sleep patterns and stuff. And but I honestly I wanted something a little bit less expensive, and I love the Samsung products, and so I got the Samsung Fit 2, and that's the one that I use here, and it's got a really nice display on it, and you can scroll through, you can customize the way it looks, and the different screens, the different applets or whatever the widgets that are available on there. You get to decide kind of the way it is, the order, and so forth. And so there's a particular layout that I like. There's some things that I want to track. And so I got that. And then it pairs right up with my phone. And I download the app, the Samsung app for that. And then you can use, there's the alarm feature, there's a timer. And so, so what happens on Father's Day? Well, one of the most popular gifts on Father's Day is the barbecue, because, in fact, this weekend, we're coming up to Memorial Weekend. It is the traditional start of summer. So a lot of barbecuing is going on. Well, you put the meat on the barbecue, and then it's going to take a while. So you come and you start doing something else, and you forget about the meat, and you end up making jerky and kind of overcooking that. So anyway, I actually set the little timer on my Fit 2, my Samsung Fit 2, so that there's a little vibration, and so it's very subtle, and then it lets me know. So then I can go out and check the meat. And I tell you what, my family has been much happier since I've been doing that. So the Fit 2 is just a really great tracker, and the price is fabulous, I think, in there. And there's some different colors. I got the black one just because that's kind of my style, but the little brighter colors, there's stuff, there's choices for you, and that's the beauty, right? There's just a lot of stuff that you can focus on. So anyway, I am just saying that as a mid-century dad, and here's the problem for my family is that if I find something that I want, I just go out and buy it. So I'm trying to hold off, but I'm trying to give you guys a little bit of a thought here on some of the things that you might want to get. And I mentioned the little Phoenix flashlight. The other thing that I keep on my key ring is this Gerber little tool here. And the Gerber tool, of course, it's got the screwdriver and a little knife blade. It's a bottle opener. It's just been very convenient. And, when you get those boxes from Amazon, having this little blade is perfect, is the perfect one to just cut open those boxes. Again, it's one of those tools that I like to keep on my key ring with the light because these are very inexpensive. But very handy. And once you have it on there, you find all kinds of uses for it. So, gosh, even just little things, because there's a screwdriver on here that is very, very tiny, very, very small here. And so what happens is in the bathroom, the the towel rods, right? The towel rods have little brackets that screw into the wall, and then there's the bases that go on there, and there's a little tiny screw. Well, for some reason over time they get loose, and then the towel falls down. So anyway, who gets to fix that? It's Dad. So Dad goes in. Well, finding that little tiny screwdriver to fit in there. Guess what? I got it in my pocket. I pull that out. You put it in there, and Dad's the hero. Oh, fix the towel rack. Yeah, I fixed the towel rack. And unfortunately, I just had that Gerber curve tool. Handy stuff. Crazy that it's so inexpensive, but it's really cool. I can tell you again, as a mid-century dad, and if you're looking out and going, oh gosh, what the heck am I going to buy for my papa or for my husband? That Phoenix flashlight, that curve tool from Gerber, they're inexpensive and they're really, really cool. So anyone can get one of those. So anyway, those are some of the fun things. And now one of the other things, I'm going to take this frame off again because I like to play music. And so I've got my guitar over here, and I'm going to grab a tuner because one of the things is that if you want to play guitar, and so I've got my guitar, and I got there's my Acme guitar, and this particular guitar is actually this was handmade. It was made in 1981. So this guitar is now celebrating this year its 40th anniversary. So, but I'm going to put a tuner on because if you're trying to play guitar and it is out of tune, it's so frustrating for you. But these digital tuners, and there's a lot of different ones out there, and the digital tuners just tell you whether or not you're in tune. It's very easy to use. Whoa. Okay. Where are we? There we go. Yeah. So anyway, playing guitar is a lot of fun. It is a great hobby. But being able to finger those chords may not be so easy for some people, and then you're getting the rhythm. So if you've ever started to play guitar right off the bat, you know that sometimes your fingers get tired and you're trying to find the trying to put the chord down, right? So it's like this finger, and then you're going to change. So anyways, kind of you're trying to put so many things together, and most people are right-handed, so all the coordination is in the right hand, which is the one that's doing the strumming part. Meanwhile, their less coordinated hand is trying to play the strings over here. All right. So, friend of mine, Travis Perry, and you may have seen him on Shark Tank, invented this little product called a Chord Buddy. And this is a really cool tool. It's got these little rubber pads underneath here, and these simulate your fingertips on the strings. And this plays 4 chords. So it plays the G, the E minor, the D, and the C chord. And you can play hundreds, probably thousands of songs with the Chord Buddy, and this will fit on standard guitars. So like this one, it'll fit on the electrics. Like so, I've got this Stratocaster on the wall behind me here. I've got the Gibson Electric. I've actually got a guitar that has no head up here. I'll show you that sometime as well. But anyway, this is a little tool that straps on to your guitar. And so, as I mentioned, it plays these chords. So you use the buttons. So like the red button is the D chord, and the yellow button is the E minor, and so forth. But then over time, as you learn the rhythm part, then you play with the Chord Buddy, and you're getting your hand strengthened by using these buttons. Eventually, you just start to pull out these little tabs, and then you use your fingers on the strings without the Chord Buddy. And pretty soon, if you use the whole learning system, then you actually don't need the Chord Buddy anymore, but you didn't get frustrated. So most people, I don't know, is it 90%? It's a lot of people. And so this is just gonna connect up here to the guitar. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on here. So I just loosen up that screw on that side. Whoa! All right, and then get that on here. All right. So get that situated, and then tighten that down. And I just want to make sure I get it aligned. All right, put my tabs in there. All right, and so all right, so let me put it up here so you can kind of see that. So I'm just we've got this as open, but then if I want to play a G chord, then I'll just use this this blue button here. And then a C chord, so I use the green button. And a D chord, so you use the red button. And then an E minor. All right, and so that is the Chord Buddy. So these you can get the whole system, and I recommend if you have a guitar, many people have guitars in the closets, under the bed. Get a stand, put the guitar on a stand, keep it out, put the Chord Buddy on it, and the tuner so that you know that you're in tune. And So what happens is you're starting to learn the rhythm, and if there's a with the chord buddy, you get songbooks, you get the instruction. There's a whole lesson system that you go through to work you through to start learning the rhythm. So you're starting to strengthen those up, and then over time, as I said, you just kind of you go through and you pull out the tab. So in this case, I'm going to pull out the D tab. That's the first one that you pull out, and so you'd play that G chord by using your finger there. And then there's actually a little notch right up here, so your finger goes in and can actually fit in. And now I'm playing on the strings, not using the chord buddy, but it's designed so it fits there. So you can see you can go back and forth. And then you go out and you would say pull out the C chord. And again, it's all set so that now I can put my fingers right in and play the C chord. There we go. And so that is the Chord Buddy learning system. That's a tool. This has just been a fabulous way to be able to learn guitar. And I have heard just some wonderful stories of people that veterans who have been coming back, and because of injuries and stuff that they have sustained, they might have nerve damage. And even if maybe they've never played guitar before, maybe they were playing, but because of the injuries that they sustained, they weren't able to play. But when they put the Chord Buddy on, they were able to do that. And there's something healing about music. It's just there's really nothing like it. And so I just really encourage people that if you're thinking about a gift for your dad, especially if you've got a guitar already in the closet, under the bed, somewhere, get it out of the case and get the Chord Buddy, get the tuner, make sure it's tuned up. There's a different tuner here. So there's just little digital tuners. You just clip that on the guitar, and they're fairly inexpensive. Snark makes one. If you buy the Chord Buddy kit, they'll come with a tuner built in, and or not built in, but is a part of the kit. And you can attach that to the guitar, tune it up, put the Chord Buddy on there. Comes with the instruction plan. Comes with the lesson. It comes with songs. So you get the instruction lesson book, and then you've got songs, and then there's additional songbooks that you can acquire as well with the Chord Buddy. But there's a lot of songs to go through there, and then they actually have a Facebook group, and people are sharing music and songs in there. And so I encourage everyone to go there. But if your father has been thinking, someday I'd like to learn guitar, and maybe has been frustrated, like most of the people who have stopped playing because it was hard and they didn't feel like they were making progress, and they can't do all the things that they want to do. But you put the Chord Buddy on, and just have a good time playing there. And anyway, it's a lot of fun. I encourage you to consider that as a Father's Day gift. Let's jump back into the cafe here, and there's just some easy things that you can do. Now, the Chord Buddy itself, if you have a guitar already, you don't need to go out and buy one, but there are some great ones here. I'm partial to the kits, things like the Fender Squire. So I'll just highlight that here. This is just a traditional acoustic guitar, great entry level guitar. Now, in this case, it comes with the guitar. You've got a tuner, strap, um, additional strings, and what they call a gig bag. So this is not the hard-sided case that you might recall or seeing other people carrying guitars around. This is very convenient. I use gig bags all the time. In fact, for this acoustic, I pulled it out of the gig bag just for this because I was off playing worship music at church last weekend, or the weekend before, actually, on the acoustic guitar, and then playing bass otherwise. But I used the gig bag to go back and forth. It's just much more comfortable, much more convenient. It doesn't provide the same level of protection as a hard shell case, but if you're just carrying it, putting it in the trunk or the backseat of the car, and going somewhere, going to the beach, going to the park, going over to someone's house, going into church, gig bags are a great way. So they're plenty. So if you get something like this Fender kit here, you're and the guitar comes in different styles. I'm kind of partial to the dark. I like the black, and it's just a cool looking guitar. But you have everything you need. Great entry level price. You pair that up with the Chord Buddy, and put those together, and you are ready to go. And your father will be able, literally, I am not kidding, with that Chord Buddy, will be able to start playing songs shortly after opening that present. And in fact, you could probably learn a new song, while you're waiting for the meat to cook on the grill. And so I just really like the Fender guitars. They sound good, they play good. There's a lot of history behind them. You can see I've got my right there. There's a Fender guitar. Get the guitar, get the Chord Buddy, and there's some other things that I've got listed in here. There's what they call the fake book, and so there's a lot of different there's songs and things in there that you can learn to play, and you can adapt those using the Chord Buddy as well. So, and I'm just going to put this up. This is the greatest rock guitar fake. But click on that one and take a look at some of the songs that are in there. There's a lot of songs, and this is a great way to become that rock musician, that rock star, and play the songs. Uh, but it's just set up in a way so that those of us mortals can actually play the songs. And so this is another great gift. And even here's an interesting thing. In a way, this can be one of those coffee table books. The coffee table book is just something, that you just kind of thumb through while you're waiting for some other things to happen, or as a conversation starter. And I guarantee you that, being a mid-century dad myself, if I were to thumb through this book, it would flood me with memories, because music, again, has such power, and so much different than written word or spoken word. So just imagine if you turn on the comedy station on the radio and you hear some great routines and you laugh and it's fun, and then a couple hours later, it's playing the same jokes. You already got it. It's not so, as I heard it, right? But you listen to a great song and you may be singing along, snapping your fingers, dancing, whatever. And 2 hours later, that same song, you're still singing. And it's just amazing. Music has such a different power than written or spoken words. And so, um, if you were to take this the greatest rock guitar book and put it on there, put it on the table, give that as a gift to your dad, and there's a lot of memories that'll go in there. and you guys can sit on the couch and just thumb through that book and look at these songs and kind of actually one of the things is that the lyrics are there, and sometimes the rock lyrics are a little hard to understand. And you're going like, that's what they were saying there. I always thought it was. And then you guys can have a great, this is just a fun family time. Even if you're not playing the songs, just to thumb through and look at them and read them and talk about what happened around that song. What were the events that were going on? Was it high school? Was it a high school sports event? Was it some particular event that was going on? Maybe it was those first dates that your parents had or that you had. Maybe it was there's some event that happened, and as you go through, and you're going to see these songs and think, oh yeah, I remember that song when, and you'll be singing along even though you're maybe not playing. So these are just kind of a unique perspective on a gift that you can get for your papa for Father's Day. Now I'm going to highlight, as I said, I've got behind me here on the wall, I've got this Fender Stratocaster, um, and it's there's a I will tell you, there is a range of prices in guitars like this, and so you can pay, like this one, this Fender. You're looking at well, let's look at the Telecaster. So there's the Stratocaster, and that's got that little notch up above, and then this Telecaster is kind of more squared on the top of the body there as it joins the neck. So it's got kind of like one horn instead of two horns. Very simple design on the guitar, and so these guitars, they're some of them are, I'll say, machine made, right? And the beauty about the guitars today is that it used to be there had to be handmade, that you had to have these instrument makers, these luthiers working with the wood and making sure the measurements were exact. And some guitars were really good but expensive, and some guitars were not so expensive but just didn't quite they just didn't put up with it. They're just bad guitars. I'll say it. I'll say it. Those are bad guitars. But today's world, with these computer controlled milling and machining equipment, to be able to take a raw piece of lumber and put it in there and have it cut and ready for finish and assembly, they're going to be perfect. They play well. They play really good. These are really great guitars and not that expensive. So you can get a Fender Telecaster or Stratocaster made in the U.S. out of the custom shop. It'll cost thousands of dollars. It is a wonderful guitar and worth it if it's for the right person or if you're a professional. But these here, like this kit, this Fender Squier Telecaster that I've got here, and the Stratocaster is going to be about the same price. You've got the guitar, the gig bag, the strap, the cord, a tuner, and a little Fender practice amp. So you have everything you need right there. And again, pair that up with the Chord Buddy, and you are playing. If your dad is already a guitar player, I tell you what, a kit like this, if you've got just an acoustic guitar, you throw this one out there, and for this price, it's just I don't know, I just think it's really cool. Do you get the whole thing right there and be able to play music on a Telecaster, on a Stratocaster? Those are just, they're iconic rock guitars, country guitars. The Telecaster is that we're showing here is not it's not exclusively country guitar. A lot of country players like them. A lot of blues players like the Telecaster, and then the Stratocaster has just been, it's been everywhere. You'll hear it in surf music. You'll hear it in all kinds of different styles of music. Telecaster, Stratocasters have just been around, and so these are really good. There's another guitar I'm going to put up here, and this is manufactured by the Gibson guitar company. It's the Epiphone. Epiphone was a brand that they purchased a long time ago, and I actually have a guitar very similar to this, the Epiphone semi hollow body. The This is the guitar that you might have noticed Chuck Berry playing, or BB King playing this style of guitar. John Lee Hooker. There's a number of people that play this guitar. There's a warmth to this sound because down the center of it, it's a solid block of wood, like the Telecaster, like the Stratocaster, that are solid body guitars. This one's got a solid block of wood down the middle, but the wings of it there on the top and the bottom of the guitar are hollow, and so you can see the little F holes that are there. And so it resonates in a way that an acoustic guitar does, similar. Plus, the electric, it's just got a very great sound. I really, this is one of my favorite guitars. I really like that semi hollow body guitar. It's just a lot of fun to play. It sounds good, and I'll tell you what, it looks cool. It just looks cool. I remember the first time I saw my semi hollow body. It was on the in the wall of the guitar store. It was a night, and it was, kind of lit up, so you could see across the street, and I could see that big body. The body on that thing is just bigger than the Telecaster Stratocaster. It stood out. And the next day I went in and I actually bought that guitar because it's just so cool. Hey, Chris. Yeah, I am talking axes because, well, as I said, we were talking about Chord Buddy, and Chris, I'm going to show you this. This is my Acme guitar. Acme. This was actually handmade. This guitar was made in 1981, and so this is the 40th year anniversary. And I've got the Chord Buddy, and so it's that guitar learning system. And so if you're kind of a little squeamish about how you're going to learn to play guitar, or maybe you're one of the people that has been frustrated by trying to learn it and your fingers hurt and you don't know exactly what to do, the Chord Buddy is a great system to be able to learn guitar. And then over time, you take these tabs out, you start using your fingers on the strings after you've strengthened your hand by using the buttons to play the chords, but you've mastered the rhythm of the guitar. And so I like the Chord Buddy. I like Gibson products. The Epiphone is a great guitar. The Les Paul, and I'll tell you what, if you watch Chris Stone, watch him on Dealcasters. Look for Dealcasters Live. Chris and Jim, they go live very often, and but take a look at the collection of guitars on Chris's wall, Chris Stone's wall in Dealcasters Live. Watch their show. You'll learn a lot, but it's just to me, it's just fascinating. He's just got a great collection of guitars, and if you get that opportunity to watch Dealcasters Live, get into the chat and talk back and forth with Chris about the different types of guitars that he has. But as you're going through it, you're just looking at some of the things that you might want to buy your dad. If he's already a guitar player, there's some classic guitars. That Stratocaster is a that like I've got on the wall. The Telecaster that I was showing earlier, the semi hollow body Epiphone is a great guitar, and the Epiphone Les Paul. Les Paul was one of the pioneers of electric guitar, and this is the one that he designed. It is a fabulous instrument. You can't go wrong really with any of these. But if your father is already a guitar player but doesn't have an electric like this, the Les Paul is a fabulous show. Is there a bass buddy? Actually, there is not a bass buddy, because generally speaking, you're not playing chords on the bass, and so you're playing just single notes on a bass. And so, but there is a uke buddy. So, so you can buy a ukulele and put the uke buddy on there, and the same thing. Learn to use that for playing the ukulele, which is a fabulous instrument. I think I had highlighted in here as well the uh, oh gosh, where is it here? Let me see if I can find there it is, the Luna tattoo. I actually have a Luna tattoo uke, and it's just cool looking. They sound great. They're so portable, and so ukuleles are very affordable. They're a lot of fun, and you actually they're kind of more popular today than they've been for a number of years. And so, getting a ukuleles just by itself are fairly easy to play. You can be playing pretty quickly if you get the Uke Buddy learning system. There's songs and a whole learning process to be able to go through to use that as well. But man, how can you go wrong with music? So, Chris, as I was just saying, one of the great things to do is to get for your father, even if he's not a musician, is to go through and get the rock guitar fake book. Click on that. Click on the fake book and take a look at some of the songs that are in there. I think you would enjoy just seeing what songs are available. And again, there's so many memories tied up in music, and just to sit on the sofa with your father on Father's Day and just kind of thumb through and look at the different songs, look at the lyrics, talk about them, talk about the memories that you have together. Maybe hearing some of these songs where you're on those road trips and the family is singing, and everyone's just having a good time, and you remember that particular vacation, that trip, that place that you're going. You're off to the Grand Canyon, you're off to the beach, you're off to see family. Maybe it was a summer vacation somewhere, to go through and just look at those songs. What a great opportunity and a fabulous gift. Um, so I just really encourage you to just take a look at that book, click on it, look at some of the songs, see what's going on, and think about if that might be a good um, gift that you would like to give your father. uh, just a chance to get together. Anyway, I just wanted to throw a few things out there today for you to take a look at and tell you about the author series that I'm doing. That, as I mentioned, I interviewed Russ Hedge, Colm O'Brien, and next week on Wednesday at 12:30 Pacific time, I'll be interviewing Paul Edwards and his book, Influencers Networking Secrets. Whew. All right, let me pull that one up here. Um, Paul is a great guy. He's up in Washington. He has got a business where he actually does ghostwriting. That is, they write books for other people, and so people have a good story to tell, but maybe they're not the best at writing or at being able to collect the thoughts and present it in a coherent way. So Paul writes a book. So we've got the Influencer Networking Secrets. We'll talk about that book again. That book was published here this year in 2021. I was privileged to be able to get an advanced copy of that, a paperback copy of that back last fall. And I read that book, and I am excited for the opportunity to get together with Paul and talk about his book and share that with everyone. Oh my gosh. I'm just looking at the note here, and Chris, you say Django Reinhardt. Oh my gosh, there is so much good music, and I can just imagine, Chris, maybe you and your dad either listening to some of the music or just sitting down and talking about some of the memories that you have around Reinhardt's music and maybe particular songs and particular events that you had. So, man, yeah, music is just a great. Anyway, Chris Stone is making comments here in the chat, and I just again I encourage you. Uh, follow Dealcasters Live. So if you just put in Dealcasters Live, you're going to go there. You'll go to his site. Make sure you follow him, and so that you get notified when their broadcast comes up. Especially if you're interested in the guitars that he's got on his wall. Chris has just got a fabulous collection. They do some product stuff. They'll do some interviews, and you're going to have a lot of fun. Make sure, but also while you're make sure you're following my broadcast, and so that you can get reminded when I go live and talk with these authors. And I am going to be doing some shows with my daughter, and that is my intro and my outro is the millennial daughter and the mid-century dad. And she's getting married on September 18th, and so my daughter and my wife and her future mother-in-law have been having so much fun. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't some angst that goes on as they're deciding all the stuff with the wedding, and there's dresses, and there's venues, and there's invitations, and who's going to come, and when's the bridal shower going to be, and so forth. But mostly, it's been a lot of fun. And actually, my wife has been on Amazon looking for dresses and trying to, is it this color? Is it that style? It's just having a lot of fun, throwing a lot of stuff into the list to be able to figure out what should she be getting to wear. What's the right mother of the bride dress? Now, as a father, I tell you what, it's going to be easy because for me, it's they just tell me which tuxedo I'm going to wear, so I'll just go and get measured, and it'll show up, and it's going to be fabulous in whatever way they do that. So, but anyway, my daughter Bethany and I will be talking about all kinds of different stuff as we kind of progress through the summer. And so I put her into my intro and outro video because we're going to have a lot of fun. Bethany and I have a lot of fun. You're going to enjoy that as well. So make sure you subscribe to this stream. Make sure you follow me. And can I say hi, Alec or Alice? There we go. We did said hi to Alice there. So yeah, we're gonna have fun. Beth and I are gonna have fun. We're talking about some different things as we plan this out, and we plan through the summer just to go through again. I'm looking from the mid-century dad. She's looking from the millennial daughter, and it turns out that the things that I needed, that my wife and I needed, as we were getting married and setting up households, a little bit different than the things today. And so I want to be able to share her perspective with you, because probably a number of you have friends that are getting married that maybe they put off weddings last year, and they're going to be doing those this year because of COVID and because people couldn't come together. And in fact, my daughter and her fiance Samuel, they probably would have gotten married last year, but it was just too challenging because they really wanted to celebrate that with family, extended family, and travel was just not going to happen. And so now with vaccines and things opening up, we're excited about being able to get together. So September 18th, we're going to have this big wedding, get all the plans going. And so we'll be talking about that through the summer here. So the millennial daughter and the mid-century dad. And Alice, I'm always interested to know what's interesting in your world, what's going on in your world, and what kind of things can I bring and share about that would be helpful for you. Today, we were really focusing in on things that you can do for your father for Father's Day. Again, the question that I asked was, what does my dad want that he doesn't have that I could afford? And so then went through some of those things. You can look at the carousel there. And we talked about music, different guitars that you can buy, the Chord Buddy learning system. If you don't have a tuner for your guitar, make sure you buy a tuner because trying to learn on a guitar that's out of tune is so frustrating. And those tuners are just fabulous and so easy to use. And I think I put the Snark tuner in there. It's one that I bought for my daughter. I really liked it. It was the right price. They work well. The batteries last forever in these things, but they're easy to swap out when they do get worn down. And they have an auto off, so you're not going to just leave it in the case, say, um, when it's off. And so it's just a lot of fun to be looking forward to Father's Day, to be forward to be looking forward to the wedding coming up next fall in September. And as my daughter Bethany and I spend time just sharing stuff with you guys. So here I am in the little lounge. There's a mid-century lounge. I am a mid-century guy, and but I'm going to turn that frame off for a second because it's that mix, right? We got the high-tech TV, we got the guitar, I got my old um, Pioneer reel-to-reel player, and by the way, that thing does play, um, and I've got it hooked up to the system, and it is a lot of fun to have that stuff around. So the vintage equipment is still good, and so with that, I'm going to wind down this Friday afternoon broadcast. It is about 4 o'clock here, a little after 4 on the Pacific Coast. I know that for those of you on the East Coast, it is a much later. You are already into the weekend. It is Friday. It is coming up on the weekend. Hopefully, everyone has got plans with family and friends coming up. Enjoy this long weekend. We got the Memorial Weekend. This is the traditional kickoff for the summer holidays, and things are opening up. We're going to be able to travel around a little bit. We'll be able to enjoy restaurants again, enjoy those family reunions. Maybe you've got a school reunion coming up. I'd love to hear about what's going on there. Hey, if you do want to get a hold of me, scott@dscottsmith.com is my email. You can always reach out and connect with me that way. Yeah, let me know what's going on. Is a lot of things that we look at, that I look at here, is I do a lot of live streaming. So if you're interested in the equipment that I use, I have thrown some of those things in there. You see, I got my MXL Patriot microphone. I love the MXL microphones. Those are really easy to use, sound great, and kind of got some style. You got to have some style too, right? And that's what's going on there. And just looking at just a number of different things that'll help. I'm also involved in a lot of the startup world for businesses. So if you're interested in that, a lot of the people that we're going to have on the author interview series, like Colin O'Brien, that was later or earlier this week, we're talking about starting up your business and what do you do and how do you do it. You don't have to quit your job, by the way, to start a business. You can actually start what they call a side hustle. And there's a lot of ways to do that. There's a lot of things that are a lot of good opportunities. Let me just, as I'm signing off, as I'm winding down this particular broadcast this Friday afternoon and sending us all out into the 3-day weekend. If you've been thinking about starting a business, but you don't know what to do, you don't know where to start, this is what I recommend to you. Think back over the last few weeks, maybe months, or some recent time period here. But think back when somebody asked you to help them with something. They asked you because you had the skill, you had the knowledge, you had the expertise. They had a problem and you could solve it. And that's really cool. So now you solved the problem for someone. Ask yourself, do other people get paid to do that? I had a friend of mine that was, he would help me set up the computer. He's the guy that I always went to. I was like, hey, Terry, I need some help here. That's his business now. It's his full-time business. Started as a side hustle and became his full-time business. That's how he supports his family. Is he solved problems? Other people got paid for it. So he started charging and turned it into a business. And I guarantee you can do the same thing. If you've been thinking about starting a business, and as I mentioned earlier, this is absolutely the best time ever to be alive. The barrier to entry is just your willingness to participate. You can publish a book, you can publish a podcast, you can start a business. Think about a problem that you've solved where somebody asks you to help them. Do other people get paid to do that? And it's very likely that you have the beginnings of a business. So anyway, I just want to give you that encouragement. Go into this weekend strong. Have fun with friends and family. And with that, I am just going to jump out and say Happy Memorial Day and blessings to all of you.